With the release of Avengers Endgame on the horizon, fans of the MCU and the 22 films and growing franchise are desperate to know, and speculate, what the outcome of the film may be. We're not just talking about whether or not Thanos the Mad Titan will meet his demise, but about whether some of our beloved Avengers members might bite the dust, for reals this time. So in preparation of this cinematic epic, it's good to do your research and have a bit of a refresher about what has gone on over the past 10 years that the MCU has been pumping out movies. So today we're counting down the top 10 MCU films that you need to see before Avengers Endgame. And it's worth noting, these films are not in chronological order of what you should watch first on our list, so don't do that. Choose what you want to watch first. And at number 10, Captain Marvel. It's without a doubt that the MCU's latest superhero to join the fray is one that will have a major impact in Endgame. Hell, Brie Larson, who plays Carol Danvers, has been making the rounds on the press tour with all of the original Avengers characters, and the characters who haven't been dusted. Before Captain Marvel's release, there was a whole lot of press concerning how important the narrative in her future film would be in understanding what she can do to help take down Thanos. She's the strongest superhero to have appeared in the MCU to date, so surely she's gonna be one of the Avengers' largest assets in fighting the Mad Titan. Plus, arguably, she might be the future of the Avengers team. But that's a whole other fan theory for another day, another time, and another video. And at number 9, Iron Man. This is the film that started it all. Iron Man was the first ship to sail into the MCU oceans, and it introduced us to Tony Stark, a constant in the cinematic universe who arguably will be one of the first in line to get revenge and take down Thanos. With the exception of perhaps Captain America, Iron Man's story is perhaps the most in-depth character development that has appeared in the MCU to date. It's a 10-year-long journey, and it feels right that before watching Endgame, which, if fan theories are correct, might be the end of his journey, one should definitely rewatch Iron Man in order to really get in the right mood for feeling all of those Tony Stark feels. And at number 8, Avengers Age of Ultron. Now you might be wondering, why is Age of Ultron on this list before the original Avengers film? Well, we'll touch on that later, that's for sure. While chronologically you should definitely watch Avengers before Avengers Age of Ultron, Age of Ultron isn't as important to Endgame as its predecessor is. Anywho, as far as Age of Ultron is concerned, it is important to Endgame when it comes to particular characters' foundations, especially Bruce Banner and Clint Barton. Age of Ultron is a really in-depth look at Hawkeye and his family situation, which, based on trailers for Endgame, is seriously lacking. It appears something tragic has happened to Clint and his wife and kids. Are they dusted? Who knows? But now he has a badass mohawk, so something's gotta give. And at number 7, Captain America the First Avenger. Much like Tony Stark's first film, Iron Man, Captain America's first film, The First Avenger, is pretty important in understanding where Cap came from. It's also a blast from the past and really gives us some in-depth history as to what has happened in the MCU over the years, and how things started from World War II all the way to the Avengers Initiative. Captain America is one of the most beloved characters from the Avengers squad, and considering that most people think this might be his last movie, and Chris Evans has said that this is his last role that he's playing, people are pretty scared that Captain America might not be coming back. So definitely watch The First Avengers just to get yourself in that right spot to feel all of the Captain America tragedy that may be headed our way. And at number 6, Guardians of the Galaxy. Volume 1 of Guardians of the Galaxy introduces to a side of the MCU that we hadn't seen before. Outer space, the cosmic realm. All of the Guardians characters played a pretty essential role in the events of Infinity War, and based on the trailers for Endgame and rumored leaks, it seems that one of the Guardians, Rocket Raccoon, will likely be crucial in getting Tony Stark home. Remember that Audi Rocket's Rescue VR mission? Yeah, Google it if you don't. As the theory stands, Rocket is the one who figures out where the Guardian's ship is, which just so happens to have Tony and Nebula on it, stranded in space. Getting reacquainted with all of these characters and their histories is essential watching, friends. And at number 5, Thor Ragnarok. While Ragnarok isn't the most important film when it comes to the narrative or emotional lead up into Endgame, chronologically it played a really big role in the lead up to Infinity War. Spoiler alert here for Infinity War, although if you haven't seen it already, go watch it and why did you click on this video? Now at the end of Ragnarok, all the survivors of Asgard are on a refugee ship. That in the beginning of Infinity War, Thanos attacks, basically killing them all, save for Thor and the Hulk. Aside from, that depressing factor, Ragnarok is really fun. When the movie came out, many felt that it was a great example of the direction that some of the more absurd and mythological properties in the MCU should be going in, and surely that's something we'll see play out stylistically in the films to come after Endgame. Moving on to number 4, The Avengers. This was the crossover movie that started them all, or at least the MCU ones. Directed by Joss Whedon, the first Avengers film saw the formation of the group, teaming up to go against Loki, who later proves to be in cahoots with Thanos. A very critical moment that, based on leaked photographs from the set of Endgame, will be playing a huge role in the upcoming film. These photos, which return to the Battle of New York, have been speculated to be part of a time travel plot that will have the remaining Avengers traveling back in time with Ant-Man to alter events and perhaps stop Thanos from getting his big purple mitts on the stones altogether. Regardless, The Avengers is an important film for understanding the foundation of how the team came together, and what their initial dynamics were. And at number 3, Captain America Winter Soldier. While the sequel to Captain America Winter Soldier holds more weight when it comes to the lead up to Endgame, this film, the Russo brothers' first foray into the MCU, really lays down a foundation in terms of Steve Rogers' character development. The Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, has always been a soft spot for Cap, his best friend brainwashed and turned evil, who just so happened to kill Tony Stark's parents, and continues to be an ongoing source of conflict for the two heroes. Winter Soldier is crucial for understanding Cap, and there's no doubt that a lot of the actions that he will make in Endgame will have to do with his guilt over losing to Thanos and losing Bucky. Oh, Stucky. Let's ship that ship, friends. And at number 2, Captain America's Civil War. The Russo brothers, who have been on Press Tour Pandemonium recently with the cast of Endgame, admitted in an interview that there's 2 very important MCU films that you need to watch before Endgame. The first, Captain America's Civil War. Convenient that they directed that one too, Jokes aside, the dynamics that occur in Civil War aren't just important for the MCU as a whole, but for what will go down between Tony Stark and Steve Rogers in Endgame, a reunion that fans of the MCU have been anticipating for years now, or at least since Civil War was released. There's a big old theory that either Tony or Cap will be dying in Endgame, and that the conflict between them that arose in Civil War will finally be put to rest. And that other film that the Russo brothers think is essential viewing material before Endgame? Well, that's our next number, and perhaps the most obvious to appear on this list. In at number 1, Avengers Infinity War. This should go without any explanation, but if you're new to the MCU and jumping on the bandwagon now that Endgame is about to be released, here's the Cole's Notes of what you missed. And if you don't know what Cole's Notes are, I am of a different generation than you. Infinity War was the film that all of the other MCU movies were leading up to. There were a bunch of hints and plot points dropped over the course of almost 10 years that led up to Thanos, the Mad Titan, collecting all of the Infinity Stones, known as the Infinity Gems initially in the comics. Also, he could become omnipotent and solve what he deemed to be an inevitable problem, that the universe was depleting its resources faster than it could replenish them, therefore half of all life must be removed from existence. In order to do that, he needs to collect all of the stones, which he then popped into the Infinity Gauntlet, which held their power. And then, well, go watch the film and see what happens. Think of Endgame as a part 2 to that storyline. Infinity War ended on a cliffhanger that not many people anticipated, and it was one hell of a ride. It's essential viewing to know where everyone stands, or technically doesn't stand, moving into Endgame. Alright, there we have it, friends. Ready to marathon all of these MCU movies? How are you all preparing for Endgame? Give us a shout in those comments below and let us know. If you dug this video, spread the love, hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe to Top 10 Nerd for more MCU content. In the meantime though, thanks for watching, friends. I'll catch you all in the next video.